it's not the truth that you need to know. Because people will take things and bend it to their situation. In other words, if something happens to any of us, and if we feel, maybe not now, but early on in life, if we felt it was to our benefit, to bend the truth a little bit, hey, you know, that's what we did. I did anyway. If I was speeding and I just passed by somebody and I got pulled over, I'm going to blame it on another person. Well, you know, he was hitting brakes and I didn't want to get in an accident, so I went around and just started telling, look, I'm in a hurry, I need to go, so that's why I was speeding. So I'm going to put it on somebody else, hopefully I don't get a ticket. They say, okay, you go ahead, let this be a warning. But see, when you're dealing with your soul, you can't do that. When you're dealing with your soul, you got to be upright, straight to the point, and be on point. Because that's what Jesus taught, and he don't expect nothing less. Because he says that nothing, and I mean nothing, nobody, I don't care how much money you got, I don't care what your status is in the community, you are not getting into heaven with sin. Just plain and simple. You can have $1 trillion, but guess what? It don't mean nothing to God, because he owns everything. The whole world and the fullness thereof is his. So you can't buy God, you can't slick talk God, you can't put on the right perfume and get his attention. It just don't work. And the reason it don't work because God sees the heart. So you can dress up. I used to hear people say, you know, that people look good outside, they smell good, they act good, but they're rotten to the core. So this is what not going to happen in heaven. That's what got Satan in trouble. He tried to take over. And see, you know us, we'll take over in a heartbeat. But that's not what God says. So we're going to go on down to Mark 6:3. Now, Pastor talked about this a lot of times, but it's so true that it can't be talked about enough, it can't be emphasized enough, and it just has to work this way. There's no other way. And it says, now when Jesus was teaching and all that stuff, he was teaching good, he was in the synagogue, and people were getting converted, because the Bible says, him and John, the Baptist, when they were saying the word, people were being converted by the thousands. And it says, if these are the people who coming against Jesus, this is what they're saying amongst themselves. Is this not the carpenter, the son of Mary, the brother of James, and Joe, and Judah, and Simon? Are not his sisters here with us? And they were offended at him. Now, I want you to pay close attention to this. Now, I want y'all to go back and read it for yourself. Now, Jesus had more brothers. And it says right here in Mark 6, it says he had a brother named James, and he also had a disciple named James. He had a brother named Job, and one named Judah, and Simon, and then he had a disciple, Simon Peter. And it says, and his sisters. Now, I haven't really found anything about his sisters except this, but trust me, I'm still looking, because I want to know how many sisters he had. But we know that he had at least 4 brothers, at least 4. So, and I was reading somewhere, and I really didn't think about it at the time, that one of Jesus' brothers was a high up in a church. I don't remember where I read it, but I'm going to come across it again. Said he was like the head man of a big church. But it didn't really elaborate on it, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to find it. Because sometimes I read stuff when I'm looking for something else and I don't get a chance to. And I got to change that. I don't write it down. I just, I'm just focusing on what I'm looking for. But I remember reading that because when I read the scripture, wait a minute, he had a brother that was, and I don't know which one it was, but I'm going to find out, and I'm going to let y'all know when I find out. And verse 7 says, and he called unto him 12 and began to send them forth 2 and 2. Now remember, Jesus just didn't, and nobody ever told me that Jesus just didn't send his disciples out. He sent them 2 by 2. I wonder why is that. Okay, that's a good answer. I really didn't know, because my train of thought was, well, it's something about the tools, because when he made Adam, then he made Eve, so that's 2. Then we made all the animals, he made 2. And I said, male and female. So I said, that may be, but these were not females, I know. But Jesus did, and I want y'all to realize, Jesus did have female disciples. The Bible don't say too much about it because the Bible probably was wrote by man. They didn't want you to know that. But there was female disciples. So anytime somebody tell you about what female is not capable of, don't believe that. Don't believe that. Because the Bible didn't say that. And see, like Pastor was saying, sometimes people read stuff and they take it out of content. This thing of women supposed to be silent in church. If you research that, you know what that was about? A man and his wife. When the man was handling business, the wife started run off at the mouth, and that's why he said women should be silent in church, and if they have ought, take it up with their husband when they get home. Now that's what the words say. But see, they take it out, woman's supposed to be silent. Silent under situation, not silent in the church personally, but there was a situation, that's why he said that women should be silent. And we know that right now. If their arguments start between the man and the wife, it get out of control. In the church, in the store, in the home, anywhere. Somebody has to have some sense. So this is what we're trying to keep order in the church. Because you really don't need to be out of order, so to speak, in church. And you have to be loving. And you have to respect somebody else's opinion. If you don't like it, don't get ugly about it. If you can't stand it, go outside.
That's right.
You got to sit up in church, because God's house is a house of order. Anytime you see the deacons or the pastor, the mother warring with each other in church, that's a house out of order. And God ain't in it. Anytime there is order in church, it always have problems, because the Bible says a house divided by itself shall fall. So that's what that means, a house divided by itself. In other words, if you got 2 factions in church, one want to do it this way, one want to do it that way, then eventually it's going to split, or ain't nobody going to be there but the pastor. Now, this is where leadership come in. A pastor should be able to negotiate peace in the house of God. And that don't mean that they got to agree with you, but they can negotiate peace and let God do the rest. But see, most times you got a faction on this side of the church, a faction on that side, and if it ain't my way, or my daughter, or my son, then we finna have a problem. But see, prayer handles all problems. But you have to have a leader who got a backbone.
That's right.
You got some of these leaders, they ain't got no backbone. The reason they ain't got no backbone, because they in mess, and somebody know about their mess, so they got them over a barrel. And we're going to get back into Matthew 8. Now, after Jesus had taught his disciples and some things. Then he went to Peter's house and saw his mother laying in sick of fever. And he touched her hand, and the fever left her, and she arose and ministered unto them. Them being Jesus was in that number. So that let me know that you don't have to believe people when they tell you that women are not supposed to preach, they ain't supposed to do this, they ain't supposed to do that. But my take on the whole situation is that if God allowed a woman to minister to him, who am I to say a woman can't minister to me?
That's right.
I mean, God was the supreme being, so to speak, and he allowed a woman to minister to him, and there was no fuss about it. But now, we quit out, oh, woman ain't supposed to do this. But now, if we tell the whole truth, there is an order of things. A woman has a place in God's kingdom, but God is the head, and he wants a woman to have a helpmate or a head. And that's how he put it in order. But we try to circumvent it by going all different routes. Got 2 men, 2 women. That ain't how God made it. So anytime things are not the way they're supposed to be, then they're out of order, then most likely they ain't in God's will.
Stop.
So be careful of what you let people tell you or show you. And I always tell people, go back to basic and read the Bible and show yourself.